Good morning. Tom here, Flip Anything USA. Wanted to just have a little brief talk about amortization schedules. And if you're not real familiar with those, you should play with them. You get an amortization calculator and start playing with the numbers, because this is one way that I've actually made a lot of money, primarily because of the deal I negotiated, primarily because of the interest rate, terms too. I once bought an apartment building. I think it was 24 units, and it was a great deal. It was a great deal. It was probably worth $600,000. I was buying it for I was trying to get it for $320,000. I was trying to get it for like $320,000. And the guy that owned it, believe it or not, he was like a professor at a university. And I'm not saying he was dumb, but he wasn't. He wasn't dumb, obviously. But they had to hear $400,000. Him and his wife. They just had to see $400,000. Now this is back when interest rates are like 7%, 8%. And so I had made a deal and negotiated at 7%. And long term, but they had to hear 400, and I may have it off a little bit. But I said, well, and he said, well, maybe you can play with the interest rate, and I said, okay. So I played with that interest rate till I effectively bought it for $320,000 again. And it was all about, so I gave him the number he wanted, the $400,000, but I adjusted the interest rate down so far that by the end of the term of the loan, I was buying it for less than I would have been buying it for with my original offer to him. And, hey, and this is owner finance, by the way. And so I thought it was bizarre, and I thought, well, maybe he wants to get rid of the property, and maybe he just realized his wife, she had to hear 400, whether it made sense or not, and sometimes that's how it works, right? But anyways, so it was a win-win. I got the property, and I gave him the number he wanted, but in the end, the $320 that I originally offered was a much better deal. So if you're not totally familiar with amortization schedules, what we're talking about is, calculating your loan, the amount of money you're going to pay over the term of time, and then you're going to set your interest rate for that period of time. And you can get there, like, the kind of calculator I like is one where I can punch in the payment. In other words, I'll punch in the mortgage, I'll punch in the interest rate, and then I'll punch in the payment that I want to pay or that I am comfortable with, and then see what the term ends up being, how long. Otherwise, you set the term and the amount and the interest rate, then it's going to calculate and give you the payment. But if you want to work backwards and say, hey, I want the payment to be X, make the payment X, and then just start playing with everything else. And of course, you get ultimately you got to sell that, whoever you're buying it from on this deal that's carrying the note. But it's a great tool, and if you play with the interest rate, I think you'd be very surprised at the results. Play with interest rates from 3% to 7%, and you may get in a situation where you make a better deal by actually offering a higher interest rate when you explain to them what they're going to get over the term of the loan. And of course, there's always the risk that you're going to refi, but people are generally only getting about 1% or less out in the bank right now on their money. So there's always good incentive to owner finance, because you just can't retire on your money anymore unless you just got a whole lot, if you're talking about living on the interest. So that's all. Hey, so I just want you folks watching. I try to share with you everything I can, and I spent about 35 years making deals, and but it's fun because I realize I remember when I first got to really get in, and I had an amortization scheduled book. Okay, I had a book. I didn't have a calculator, or I should say I didn't have a computerized one that just kind of gives you the whole sheet. And this will show you the principal and interest over all the years, and which is also mind-blowing.